And it's all about the relationships that two angles have. Okay? It's all about the relationship that two angles have. So I'm going to go up to the top and start with vertical angles. So what I need you to do is I need you to draw two straight lines that intersect each other. Basically like making an X. But they're lines, so we need to have an arrow on each end. Here's the thing that's important about vertical angles. What kind of lines did we just make? It's an intersection, but what kind are they? They're straight, right? So vertical angles are made by two straight lines. Okay, well, why do we need to know that? Here's one. Go ahead and label your angles. 1, 2. Look how I labeled them. Do it the same way. First one, down 2, to the left 3, right 4. Here's why the relationship is special. Whatever angle 1 is, angle 2 is the same thing. So if angle 1 is 78 degrees, guess how many degrees 2 is? 78. So let's write angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Well, guess what? If 1 and 2 are congruent, what do you think about 3 and 4? They're the same too, aren't they? Because they're vertical. So 1 and 2 are the same, and then 3 and 4 are the same. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. That's the important thing about vertical angles. They are always congruent. Okay? Now let's go to adjacent. There's a key word in adjacent, and it's bold. What's it say? Next to. The thing about adjacent angles is they're always next to each other. So draw this. I have two angles, but they are adjacent. They're right next door to each other. Here's the thing adjacent angles have in common. They have a common vertex. They have a common vertex. Both of them have the same vertex. And they also have one common side, which is this one in the middle. They both share that ray. So they're two angles that are right beside each other. Think of them as neighbors. They're always right beside each other. Kind of like those couples you see in the hallway. You know, the ones that's like, you're going to class for 49 minutes. It will be okay. Some of those people are in here, aren't they? Okay, let's go to linear. So we had adjacent. Now, there's nothing really in particular about how many degrees these are. Adjacent is just the most common relationship. They're just beside each other. When you go over to linear, draw a straight line. Are these two angles right beside each other? Do they have a common vertex? Common side? So these are adjacent. These two angles are beside each other. They are adjacent. But more importantly, they are a linear pair because they make a line. They make a line. So yes, they're adjacent, but go even further, they make a line. How many degrees makes a line? 180. 180. So together, angle 1 and angle 2, angle 1 and angle 2 have to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so we have vertical, Opposite vertical angles are always the same. Adjacent, they're just right beside each other. Linear, they make a line, so angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. Then we have complementary. Draw something that looks like this. Blake, that is such a nice flowery shirt that you have on. Right, class? Do you agree? Right? Right. Parker, that is such a nice headphone you're about to take out of your ear. Right, class?
Right.
Right. Adley, that is such a pretty dress you have on. Right, class? What am I doing to these people? I'm complimenting them. And then I'm asking you what?
Right.
Right? Do you agree with me? This complementary angle is what kind of angle, class?
Right.
Right? Tell you just a way to think about it, okay? Will, that is such a nice smile you have on your face. I'm so glad you're excited to be in geometry today. Right, class? Right. You love someone to be picked on. So, you better not break eye contact. You know I'll call you out. Cardell, that's such a nice nose ring you have in your nose. Right, class? You don't have to agree.
Hey,
Just kidding. Someone asked me if I said, do you know who Cardell is? And they were like, kid with the nose ring? I was like, yep. Some teachers know me. Okay, you do you. I'll do me. Okay. So, do you get the point?
Right.
Complementary angles are what kind of angles? Right? Because when we complement, we want people to agree. So, here's the point. Are these complementary angles adjacent? Are they right next door to each other? Yes, that's important. But what's even more important is that you know they have to equal 90 degrees to be complementary. They have to equal 90 degrees. So if this angle 1 is 70 degrees, they're complementary, so they have to equal 90. What does this angle have to be? 20. Because 70 plus 20 is 90. Let's do another example. Anybody want to choose one of these angles for me? Just one? 60? Is that what you said? Okay. If this is 60 and they have to be complementary, what's the other one? 30, because 30 plus 60 is 90. Very good. Okay, you'll never forget complementary means what? Right, 90. Okay, last one. We have supplementary. Straight line. Okay, supplementary. You eat supper, right? Supper. If you're a normal person. I'm not a normal person. I don't actually have time to sit down and eat supper, so I eat it like in the car, on the floor, like not in normal places. So normal families eat dinner at a table, right? Like I should. We should eat dinner at a table. That table is how many degrees? Flat. 180. Now I'm not talking about, well, we have a round table, so that's not what I'm talking about. On the surface of your table, it's flat, right? Right? And a flat surface is 180 degrees, because it's flat, it's a line. So you eat supper at a table, which is how many degrees? 180. So guess what these two angles have to equal? What does that sound like? We already talked about it. What's it sound like? What, Logan? Linear pair. Aren't those the same exact thing? Yes. Yes, they are. But you will use supplementary more. You just need to know that linear pair, that they are a pair. Angle 1 and angle 2, they're a pair, a linear pair. But more importantly, These are supplementary angles. They add to be 180. They add to be what? 180. So if this right here is 130, and it has to add to be 180, then this other angle has to be 50. Now, some of y'all are like, how are you doing this? I'm starting with 180, and I'm subtracting what I know, which is 130, and I'm left with 50 degrees. Not too bad, okay? All right, let's practice together. Coming backwards. Pass these up for me, please. Okay, let's look at the front of this first. So this is titled Angle Relationships Error Analysis. So some of these on the front page are wrong. We're looking at the front page, guys, not the back. We're looking at the front page. Some of these are wrong. We have to figure out why. Well, first of all, if they're wrong, and second of all, why. So if you're looking at these angles right here, where the numbers are respectfully, what kind of relationship do they have? I'm talking about the ones that, this one and this one. They're vertical, right? So let's write at the top vertical. What do we know about vertical angles? They're what? What do we know about vertical angles? They are always congruent. So if these two angles are the same, to solve for x, because that's my goal, to solve for x, I just set them equal. Is that what they did? No. So who's wrong? Y'all or them? Them. They set it equal to 180. These are vertical. They're equal. So let's go ahead and solve right here. Let's solve for x. Say 5x equals 100. So x is equal to what? 20. 100 divided by 5. Okay, explain what happened. What kind of angles were they talking about? Which one equals 180? Supplementary or linear. So in your explanation that you're going to write something about they use supplementary instead of vertical. So write that now. Explain their mistake. Okay, look at number 2. What does this square right here mean? 90, right? So what kind of angles are we talking about? Right, but what's the real word? Complementary. So how much should these two equal? What did they write? So who's wrong? Us or them? Them. It's supposed to be equals 90 because this is a right triangle. This part's right, 3x plus 39, but it equals 90. So explain the mistake and then solve it by yourself. Is that equal to 90? Go. Do I get 17?
Yep.
Yep, I think that's right.
I got 17.
Good. All right, so you should have done 1 and 2. Okay, now I'm going to let you go ahead and flip to the back. We'll do the last 3 tomorrow. Flip to the back. What in the world? It's a maze. It's a maze. Okay, now this maze is not going to be accepted if you just draw and make it to the end. That's not the point of this, and I will not give you a grade for that. Here's how you get your grade. Same for Miss Asbury's class, because we made a deal we would do this together because we thought the maze was just too easy by itself. So, here's what you have to do. Start right here where it says start. What kind of relationship do these two angles have? Huh? Vertical. So write vertical at the top of it. Oh, Miss Jenkins, you're being so extra. Yes, I am. Vertical. So if these are vertical angles, and this is 80, what's x? Okay, so now you can fill in the maze. So it led us to the bottom one. Okay, well now, here are your options. You only have 3 options for this whole maze. You have vertical, you have complementary, and supplementary. Those are your only options. Vertical, that's a really long word. Complementary and supplementary. So you can shortcut those into vert, comp, and sup. But for every one, you have to tell me which kind it is. So now let's go back to the one we were on. Is that vertical, complementary, supplementary? No. This one right here. Those aren't opposite. There's, well, what's a straight line make? How many degrees? 180. That's a straight line, isn't it? So it's supplementary. How many degrees is supplementary? 180. So start with 180. Subtract what you know, which is 120. How much is left? 60. So you go down. Okay, well now what do you see? Complementary, because it's 90. So if complementary means 90 degrees, subtract what you know, which is 64, and what's left? So that's how you get your grade. I'm not just accepting this if you just fill it in like that. You have to tell me what kind each of these are. Now, you have about 10 minutes to finish this. I think that's plenty of enough time.